Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm so excited to show you guys these. As you know, I'm a cat person. If you've watched my show much, you know that I'm a cat person, or just watch my channel or any of my videos. I love cats. And it was like, no, I guess it was more than a month ago now when I went searching for Figaro in my videos. And so it wasn't in the long form, but I'll make sure to add that too. I went searching for this Figaro pin for my niece because she wanted it. I had found the whole collection and she wanted Oliver, and she found Oliver and she wanted Figaro. So I, of course, went searching for it. So, well, that naturally, once I had the collection, I was inspired to do something with it because I don't really always like just putting these on plain pin boards. So I went and got a whole bunch and I got duplicates. Well, what am I going to do with everything? I'm going to make sure that I make crafts with them. And today I'm going to show you how to do it with Figaro. Now, I also will have these available in my Whatnot shop as while supplies last. Again, it just depends. So you can always go to Whatnot and you can see the final product of these in person if you would like to purchase them for me. I can try my best. I don't do custom orders or anything, but you can pick them up there if I have them available. So I'm so excited to show you. I'm going to be doing one for each, but today's their first installment, so we're going to be doing Figaro. Hi guys. So here we're going to be doing our pin craft with this little Figaro. These were Loungefly pins that I got at GameStop, and my niece really wanted this Figaro, and so I went searching. Anyway, so I can't wait to show you this. It's a fun craft. So we're going to be using the wood textures paper, and if it is, I'm not sure if it's retired or not. It has all kinds of great wood texture in here from Stampin' Up. Now, if it's not available, if it's, I'll put a link if it's current, and if it's not current, you can often find retired paper and stuff on Whatnot from some of my friends like Darlene Walker, Lisa Ray, also the Papered Chef. I'll go ahead and tag them in this video and make sure that you have their information. That way you can get some of this paper if you need it. Or any wood texture paper will be fine. But if you want to use the same kind of paper that I'm using, really look at those ladies because they have lots of retired product, and you know, they have great prices. The wood texture paper is 6x6. And we're also going to need a basic white 6x6 as well. This is like to give this a little bit more substance because it's kind of, it's not flexible per se, but it's also not a stiff paper. Okay, let's see. Did I like, yeah, I like the grain on this one. I like the grain just a little more, and I'm just touching it. You know, you don't have to put a ton of glue on this one. This is just for the background paper. And so I just wanted to make sure it had like a stiff piece of cardstock in the back. And now it's nice and stiff, not floppy like it was before. And then we take a piece of 5x5 Balmy Blue. And then this piece is from some paper from a few years ago. And the back side of it had these sextants on it and all these different tools on it. And so I just thought that was a really pretty, I just thought this stripes, I just really like the stripes. I had clearly tried to put this on another project, but I'm not going to waste paper, as you can see. So again, this is 5x5. This is 4 3/4 by 4 3/4. And I'm just going to glue it down. I must have tried to use this on another project and it turned out it wasn't really what I wanted. So that's all I can think. That's all I can think that happened. All right, so let's go ahead and let's pop this down. Want this at the top, okay. And we're just gonna go ahead and make sure we get this centered. We cut a 2x2 piece, a 2-inch strip of the wood grain paper. And this is what we're gonna use to make our cat tree. So I'm gonna put this in. I need it to be wider than this shape because the cat is just about as wide as the punch. And so, you know, we need this piece to be a little bit wider. So what we're gonna do, this is the Label Me Lovely punch. Now this is a retired punch, but again, you can find these from Darlene Walker, Lisa Ray, The Papered Chef. You know, they have these retired papers. And so I'm gonna go ahead and just punch. Let's see. Or no, did I punch it this way? No. No, I punched it this way because I need this straight part. My bad, I put it in the wrong way. I almost ruined my piece of paper. All right, so, because I need the top straight. So I've just got to get it lined up just right. There we go. And then for this side, we're gonna push it through until the length I think it should be. You can't really punch the, can't really cut the label sooner. I think that is about right. Let me look at it again. Turn it a little, no, it's a little long. I think right about there. And I'm gonna go ahead and push it right up against the side, make sure I get this straight line. And there we go. Now it's wider than the original label by like a 1/4 inch and plenty of room for my cat to fit on it, okay? So it just changes the dynamic of the, changes the width of it. All right, so we've got that. That's our basic label. Okay, so I trimmed up one of those little pieces to be about the right size. We might need to trim it again because I think it's a little too long. It might need to be just a little bit shorter, but again, one thing at a time. And then I just trimmed this little piece of cardstock. It's about 3/4 inch by 2.25 inches long. Don't worry about the length of it. I needed to just make sure, like I want the cat tree to be about here because I'm gonna put the fishbowl above. I've got a fishbowl I'm gonna cut out and everything. So, and then we need the cat scratcher part here. Now the cat scratcher part, it looks really long. You know, this is way longer than we need it to be, but you want to make sure you have plenty so you can trim some off if you need to. So I made sure it was extra long. So while I'm waiting for the hot glue gun, I wanted to show you the paper where we got the goldfish. The goldfish came from this Christmas paper from a few years ago. Now this is the part that's a little tricky. It's called Sweet Stockings, and it's full of paper that has pets inside stockings, and it went with some stamps that had cats and dogs and hamsters and stuff inside stockings. And you see it has cats, it has dogs, and it had this little goldfish on one of the sheets. So I went ahead and cut the goldfish out, but as you can see, the goldfish has a little Christmas tree next to him and a little present and stuff. So we're gonna be covering that up. But I wanna make sure that you guys knew where the goldfish came from. Really cute paper. But again, you don't have to use the goldfish. It's just that it does add to it the fact that I managed to get a little goldfish for Figaro's little cat scratcher. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna trim the goldfish up. Maybe more light will make it warmer. And remember, you turn the paper, not the scissors. And so, there we go. And let me trim it. It's a little crooked there. There we go. And I didn't trim directly on the line. I leave a little border around the edge of the bowl. I just think it makes it look a little cleaner when you do that. Just my opinion. So, okay, the hot glue is still heating up. I think because it's so cold. See, we're gonna put the goldfish right here. And so we needed her ahead of time. All right, so while we're waiting for the, hot glue, we're gonna go ahead and punch out a Pinocchio. We're gonna punch, this is the mushroom stamp, and we're gonna use this to make a Pinocchio hat. I just thought that added quite a bit to the frame when we added the Pinocchio hat. That was my personal opinion. So let me go ahead. So we punched out the 2 mushroom. The Pinocchio's hat isn't this exact same shape, but it looks sort of like it. And so I wanted to use that as kind of a base, because sometimes it's really hard to adapt, to make a shape out of nothing in your brain. So I use that as like a base. And I thought I had a sample hat in here, but I guess not. And then we also need to punch out a little, yeah, I thought I had a hat that was a sample, but I guess not. And we also need a little, this little brim. And so we're gonna use this little stem part as like part of the brim, and we're using this part also as part of the brim. So it's kind of like, this is like the ribbon that goes around his hat, and then this is the brim of the hat. And this is just extra garbage. And so it's a little tricky to cut it, but I believe in myself. I know I can do it. So I go ahead and I'm gonna glue my little blue piece on and trim from there, because that was the hardest part, because this needs to be on before I can do the other trimming. And I'm putting it down kind of low. Let me put it here. And this is called punch art. When you use a punch to make something else. So I'm not making mushrooms with this. Instead, I'm gonna make a Pinocchio hat. I'm using the shape that are already in it, the shapes that are already in the punch, to make something else. And that is, yeah, I think we might need to trim that off a tiny bit. Okay, so we've got that down. And then we'll glue this down on top. And you see it's like starting to form kind of like a brim of a hat. I don't know if you can see it, but I could see it. I could see it when I was creating it. And then we're gonna glue this piece on, and then we shape from there. There we go. Whoop, whoop, whoop. There we go. Sliding it. There we go. Okay, we've got our gluing done. We now need to get our shaping. So this is like the back of the hat. So I took a picture, and this is how I designed it. So this is the back end of the hat, and this will go down to the brim of the hat here. The front of the hat will be pointing right here. And I just kind of cut upward to this peak as like the start of it. And I trim that down. Now it's not enough of an angle yet. There we go. And so now we have the Pinocchio shape that we were needing. It still seems a little bit off, like it needs to be angled a little more this way. Just a little bit more around. Yeah, there we go. It needed to be just a little more angled to the left. Okay. I don't know how I saw that shape as the hat of Pinocchio, but I managed to see it. I can't explain it, but I could see it. I could envision it. Okay, so now for the feather, I literally just cut a small, no, that one's not wide enough. I cut a little feather shape, like a pointed eye, essentially, you know, like is what I cut. Okay, that'll be the part that goes under the brim. And all I did was I took my pencil. So this part here, I'm going to stick underneath the edge of the hat. And I just drew a straight line up, and then I just added some texture with the tiniest bit, just with the pencil. Nothing crazy, nothing fancy, just a pencil. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna tuck this underneath the blue here. So let's see, oh, there's a lot of glue right there. We might have a little trouble. Let's see. Okay, it's gonna let us. We just have to, I think I'm gonna have to add a glue dot because the brim of my hat had a little too much glue. So it's adhered down quite well right there, but I think I can still tuck just enough. Yeah, but we'll need a glue dot to hold it down. So let's go ahead and grab a glue dot really quick. Even this glue is, it's not that this glue isn't sticky. It's just that I think because of the cold, some of the properties of the glue don't always work. It's not, it is sticky, but it's almost, it doesn't feel that sticky when I first touch it. There we go. There we go. And now it's just coming off the back, and there's his little hat. So we have the hat and we have the goldfish. Now we have enough heat, I think, to do the wrapping of our cardstock so that we can do the cat scratcher part. I always start at the bottom. I just add some here. Just be careful. You might burn your fingers. So if you have silicone, if you have silicone finger covers, you know, like our thimbles and that kind of stuff, you know, you could use that. And all I did was I just wrapped the cardstock. I just wrapped it around and just kept it real, really tight because I wanted to make sure that the layers of the cat scratcher were nice and tight across the bottom. Let's see if this is going to be wide enough. I think it's going to be wide enough. I think this piece might have been a little smaller than I wanted. Yeah, just a little bit. I think the cat scratcher part's a little smaller than I wanted. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and just keep wrapping this and keep wrapping it and keep wrapping it, keep wrapping it. And then I actually usually stop at one point, just kind of add a little so that it doesn't come undone. So now we're like midway, and that'll hold it so that you don't want it to come undone just as you're about to finish. And so I just keep wrapping and wrapping and wrapping and wrapping and wrapping. And this is just twine I got from Amazon, nothing fancy. Okay, and so let's see our scratcher. Yeah, we need it to be a little taller. We're not going to wrap it all the way to the end, but we'll get pretty close. Let me put some more hot glue. Because as I start getting up near the top, again, this is the back, so no one's going to see this hot glue. This will definitely hold it in place. Oh, it's already, wow. It's so cold. The hot glue already dried like almost almost instantaneously. Okay, so let's see if that's enough. I think I'm going to wrap it a few more times. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and add a little more glue. We're going to cut this off right here. And the scissors I'm using to cut the twine, I'm using my serrated scissors. I'm using like scissors that are strong and meant for cutting things, not just any, you know, twine is really rough, so you don't want to use your delicate like scissors on it. You want to use something that's a little sturdier. Like you don't want to use your fabric scissors on it. All right, so now for the base, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a piece of this on here to just stiffen my wood base here. And I'm just going to use the hot glue. Or actually, I don't need the hot glue. We'll need the hot glue in a minute, but let's just use the white glue here for a second. All right. And it just has this nice stiffness to it now. Now it's nice and firm so that when it goes down here on the bottom, it can hold its own without you having to prop up the sides of it or anything like that. So I hope I glued the right side. Yeah, I think I did. All right, so we've got that as our base. And then we want this here at the top. And under this, we're gonna put a piece of cardboard. So I think we're about ready. So for under the cardboard piece here, we're just gonna cut. And I think I used cardboard in one of my other videos. Cardboard is really inexpensive. I mean, it's practically free, you know what I mean? You just use your Amazon boxes. But it's really good at propping up and being a third, giving a dimension, you know, to the basic, oh, I like this side better than that side. I like all the wood grain on this side better. All right, so we're gonna add a little bit of glue right here. And then we're gonna go ahead and glue that down in the center. Oh, that was really crooked. All right, because this is where our pin is gonna go. But we also have to make sure there's enough room for the fish at the top. And I think there will be just enough room. I'm gonna need to trim some of this off. There we go. Cool, then I don't have to cut. I was gonna cut this and I might still cut it, but I don't have to cut it like I thought. And for the back of this, we put a piece of this on the back. Just a little piece, hot glue it on. It adds a little more thickness to your cat scratcher. Oh, it's a little wide. A little long and a little wide. But it's just going to be, it props up the this cat scratcher part a little bit more, which is good. It's unraveling. So we want that. We want it to be propped up, but we also don't want it to have another piece of cardboard underneath it, you know? And so that's why we needed to add that piece, because it needs to be almost as tall as this. Oh, actually, we might have been able to get away without putting that cardboard on the back. Actually, I'm going to peel that off because it's actually too thick. I think I'm used to working, I've made these a few times now. And when the Marie one does not use twine, thick twine, it uses like a thin twine. But I think for this really thick one, oh, I got glue on my, okay. I don't think it ripped it. Oh, I think it ripped it a little. Okay, let's see. Yeah, this is a little too thick. Okay. We might have to put a little piece of this on the back of here to layer it up. Maybe we'll put 2 pieces of cardboard on there. I don't think so. 2 would be too much. No, I think 2 will be too much for it. We'll just put this on the back here. Prop it up a little bit more. Okay, I'm gonna, oh, you know what? To cover up this little mark, because the hot glue ripped it, I'm gonna flip it around. Ha ha ha, there we go. All right, so now let's see if this works here. Okay, now, okay, see what was happening is this paper was bending because the twine was a little too thick. And so that's where it's a tricky balance, because you want the twine to be thick and like a cat scratcher, but you also want it to be thin enough to where it's going to, I'm going to trim off this bottom edge. It also needs to be thin enough to where you can fit your fishbowl up here and everything. So, all right, so I'm going to glue this down and I'm going to use this as my base. I'm going to get it in the center. So let's just use our centering ruler to see. Yeah, all right. Okay, so we're going to put this right here in the center. All right, so the bottom of the cat scratcher goes pretty much to the edge, and then we're going to glue this over the top here, covering up the bottom edge. I guess I wanted it a little taller, but, and then this will go here. No, that's good, that's good. All right, so we're going to put a little bit of glue right here. And then we'll place this wooden plate over the top here. Okay. And then we'll glue this one right here. And this one's going to get glued down. I just need to make sure that there's enough room for the fish on the top here. That's all I want to make sure, is that the fish has enough room up above. So yeah, so we'll put it right, let me put it right there and see. Yeah, there's room. All right, I'm gonna put it down a little bit more. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll glue down this piece. And again, cardboard is pretty cheap, you guys, you know what I mean? So like, it's not like cardboard. I mean, I could invest in some really expensive foam and really, you know, stuff, but I sell these in my Whatnot, you know, like I make these for content and then I sell them in my Whatnot and shop. And, you know, I want them to be affordable too, you know, so if I had foam and stuff, it would be, gosh, it would be way more. Foam tends to be expensive. I use it on my cards. Okay, so now for our goldfish to sit up here, we're gonna have to use a little more cardboard on the back. Okay. All right. I'm gonna put, because we need the fish to be propped up a little. And so we'll put a little bit of white glue. You can use hot glue too, but it's not really needed. It was really just needed for the, okay, is it tall enough there? Do I need another one? I think I might need another piece underneath. This is where sometimes that extra layer, let's see if this is enough. I don't really want to add another layer to it. I think this will be enough, just this piece here. It's a little Frankenstein-y. But I sure do love creating these kinds of things. It's really fun. All right, so that's gonna go there. We've got our stuff. We've got everything centered. All right. Okay. So we'll go ahead and, we'll go ahead and we can glue down our little goldfish. Yeah, it looks good. We'll glue that down. Let me lean it up to get it just right. There we go. We'll let that dry a second. And then I'm also going to be putting this on the edge here because I kind of want it to just kind of hang off. All right, so there we go. Yeah, perfect. Okay, that looks great. I'm so excited. So now we're going to be putting this inside of a frame. I improved the frames. The frames, because Dollar Tree no longer sells the frames that I used before. I used to use a different frame. I got these off Amazon. So these are different frames than we had before. But they're nicer. They're actual wood, so they're actually a little nicer. So the price of my crafts went up a tiny bit because I had to adjust for the cost of the frame. So the price of them went up just a little, which was a bummer. I hated to have the price go up, but all right. So now we're gonna go ahead and take off our layer here. We're gonna put our cat scratcher piece in. Then we're going to, I'm gonna pop this back on. I'm not sure if we need another layer in there or not. Let's see. But now we have a stiff place to be able to push our pin in. So let's go ahead and see how this goes. So now for pushing the pin in, remember there's cardstock and there's chipboard underneath this cat. So just make sure that you are pressing straight down. And that should press it right in. I think I went through all the layers, but let me check. No, it didn't. So let's go ahead and let's, yeah, see it's spinning. Let's go ahead and get our, there it is. Let's get our little board here. And we need it to go right down in. There we go. Now it went in. All right, that was it. It needed to go all the way down. Oops, and now it's a little too high. We need it a little bit lower. I guess we don't. It just, I kind of wanted it a little lower. But it's center. So it's centered. All right, so it's peeking out of the back just barely. So it's not actually peeking out hardly at all. And I'm pretty sure I can add my plexiglass right back on top. And that adds that little protective layer for the point. And we're done. Yep. I'm pretty sure that's what I did with my other ones. It's been a few days since I've made one, so it's been like a week. So that is our Figaro frame. Oh, we're forgetting one thing. We're forgetting the gems on the Christmas tree for the Clio. So we need to get these sea glass gems, sea glass shapes. And all I did was I took these sea glass shapes and I added them over the top of the Christmas design on there. And I just kind of wedged them and piled them like sea glass, like actual rocks you would have in a fishbowl. And so, and it covers up the Christmas part. You know, because I was thinking, oh, there's a Christmas on there, I can't use it. But then I realized, yes, you can. You can always make something work. Okay. And I pile up some white ones, some red ones. You know, I pile up a variety. Or white, green. I should have done that before I glued it in there. Let me put this one on the top over here. Yeah. And then we'll put another white one maybe right here. Come on. This is why I use tweezers, because, okay, that green one's like a little large. It's actually maybe a little too big. Or it's not too big, but it was just at a bad angle. And so there we go. And then we'll put that green one in the back. There we go. There we go. Good. All right. So now we have our little Cleo at the top. So you see we've got Cleo, we've got all her little sea glass. We've got Cleo, we've got her sea glass, we've got Pinocchio and Pinocchio's hat, then we've got our little Figaro hanging straight down, and then we've got our little cat scratcher piece. I mean, it just really did turn out cute, you know. Remember, you can message me. I have these for sale on my Instagram, or you can message me or go to Whatnot. I have them for sale. I have other cats as well. This is just one of the many. So thanks for tuning in, and comment, like, share, even just watching it. I just appreciate, I really do. And so have a great day, guys, and thanks so much for watching.